Hallo und willkommen zu Lone Star. Wir spielen Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, The London Case. Der zweite Teil in, jetzt schon einer Reihe. Wir haben ja vorher den ersten Teil schon mal uns zusammen angesehen. Und das ist jetzt hier der nächste.
Detektiv Hercule Poirot? Ah, Chief Commissioner. On the contrary, it is a most convenient time. The safe passage of a painting? Tell me everything. If man was meant to travel the oceans in such conditions, he would surely have been given his own fins. A distraction is what one needs. Where is that blasted contact? How is one to prepare for an assignment if one does not have all of the required information? Very well. I shall wait no longer.
Beautiful, isn't she? Pardon, monsieur? The open water. There really is nothing quite like her.
When one suffers from the mal de mer, the beauty, as you say, is rather more a burden.
Forgive me, I just can't imagine being scared of the ocean in this day and age. The potential to see the world is open to even the ordinary man like us.
I can assure you, monsieur, it is not a matter of being scared. And as for ordinary...
I didn't mean to offend, mister.
I am...
Forgive me, madame.
No harm done. Accidents happen. My cigarette case, where is it?
I didn't see.
You thought I wouldn't notice? A young lady traveling alone. An easy target for you, I bet.
I'm sure the young lady would appreciate the help of two handsome strangers.
Ja, das kann sein, aber wen meint er denn damit? Prologue. The ship. Used to explore the scene. Try finding the missing cigarette case. Also sowas zum Beispiel. Unknown item.
Huh.
Some objects can be viewed in more detail. Try finding all points of interest on this object. Das wohl nicht. The crest. Ist denn das kein Point of Interest? Können wir da vielleicht mal drauf drücken? Wie kann man das eigentlich rotaten hier? Linke Maustaste und dann... Oh, ja, aber das bewegt sich sonst wie? Ist jetzt wieder auf dem Kopf. Ey. Also den Knopf kann ich schon mal nicht drücken, oder? Ah, doch. Poirot, the mechanism used to open the case. Bottom. Kann ich das nicht lesen hier? Das wäre da auch ein Point of Interest. Aber dass er das nicht will. Was sonst? Ich weiß aber nicht genau, ob man eine bestimmte Stelle drücken muss. Ich meine, hier hinten gibt es ja nichts zu sehen. Es sollen 3 Sachen sein. Also ich würde ja drauf tippen, der Knopf, das hier. Ah, jetzt geht's irgendwie. Vielleicht muss man einen Doppelklick machen oder sowas. Date engraved. Dated 1855. It's old, but is in near perfect condition. Okay, dann versuchen wir es nochmal.
Aha.
Ja, jetzt ging's. An ornate family crest, the lion, traditionally associated with courage, nobility and the British. Item added to inventory. A silver cigarette case adorned with a family crest. Return the cigarette case to the passenger's suitcase. Aha, zweimal das gleiche Spiel hier. Passenger. Interact.
The young lady should not be left to gather her own things. The young lady should not be left to gather her own things.
Das war es schon mal nicht.
You are returning home?
I am. But how did you know that?
Select the correct answers to progress. Much like your investigations, you may need to keep searching for clues before you can solve this fully. The lion emblem.
Besides your educated accent, the crest that adorns your cigarette case, it is of British origin.
Very observant. It's the crest of my family, and the case belonged to my mother. I take it everywhere with me. Miss Florence Farquhar, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Farquhar! Prinz Farquhar? Woher kenne ich denn den? Ich finde es aber irgendwie interessant, dass die immer so komische Namen haben müssen. Auch im ersten Teil war das doch so ein Name, wo man auch nicht gewusst hat, wie man den aussprechen soll. Jedenfalls nicht so, wie er geschrieben war. Und der Typ hier, der tut ja gar nichts. Der schaut nur doof. Meine Güte, jetzt müssen wir aufräumen als Poirot. Ich möchte übrigens mal wieder zu seiner Kleiderwahl beglückwünschen. Mit den, ja, bisschen gelben Schuhen und den roten Socken. Zusammen mit einer... Ja, was ist das hier? So leicht lila oder ist es... tja, dieser Farbton... Keine Ahnung. Komisch.
The pleasure is ours.
That looks like everything. Except for my powder case.
Is this what you're looking for?
Die schaut ein bisschen steif aus.
It is. Thank you, Miss...
Miss Babanin. Anastasia Babanin.
Noch ein schöner Name. Anastasia Babanin.
Anastasia. What a
Anastasia.
beautiful
Okay.
name.
It was my grandmother's.
Well, that's everything now. I can't thank you all enough for your help.
Die anderen haben alle nichts gemacht.
I'd be happy to escort you. Here, I'll take your bag.
Ja, das kann ich mir vorstellen.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. Cabin 4. I'll be right behind you. Anastasia, perhaps I can offer you a token of my gratitude in the bar later?
Aha, aha. Kann sein, dass das Spiel hier versucht, modern zu sein hier.
That would be lovely.
And you, Mr.
Detective Hercule Poirot, at your service.
A detective? I was not expecting to meet such a distinguished gentleman on board.
I did not expect to meet someone of Russian descent on a ship between the great city of Antwerp and Dover.
I never mentioned where I was from either.
Striking beauty. I cannot recall being taken aback by such beauty before. Anastasia relates to Anastasios. The name Anastasia is the Russian form of the Greek name Anastasios, meaning resurrection. I presume she is from or closely related to a family with Eastern European origins. Ja, beides.
One did not have to. Anastasia, of Russian origin meaning resurrection.
And here was me thinking I was special.
Your knowledge of my heritage is most impressive.
And I'll take that as my cue to leave. Good evening.
It seems it's just us remaining.
I would very much like to hear stories from your homeland. Perhaps you would join me in the restaurant.
Ja, aber nur so aus wissenschaftlichem Interesse.
As charming as that would be, I'm feeling rather tired. It must be all the sea air.
Then I shall leave you to your slumber. Adieu. As much as I enjoyed the delights of the restaurant, I still found my mind drifting back to Mademoiselle Babania. She really was
Babania.
quite charming.
Okay. Was ist eigentlich das hier für ein Ding? Ist das der Zimmersafe hier? Ob der sich auch ganz einfach öffnen lässt hier? Oder ob der was taugt mal hier? Wer weiß. Ich hätte vielleicht vorher mit den anderen nochmal reden sollen, weil die Option war dann weg, sobald ich das mit dem Koffer genommen habe. Ich habe halt gedacht, man könnte danach nochmal mit denen reden. Naja. Wer weiß, was die erzählt hätten, aber wenn wir jetzt nicht rausfinden.
I have spent the first part of this excursion neglecting my duties. It's time to retrieve my notebook from this safe and begin. The combination was not a difficult one to remember. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo.
Halt, unlock the safe. Halt, Moment. Ah, okay.
Et voilà. Time to...
Mal eine kurze Frage. Wenn wir gerade versuchen, den Safe aufzumachen, wieso stehen wir dann auf der anderen Seite gerade? That's strange.
One cannot ignore such a blood-curdling scream.
Der hört sich auch so ein bisschen an, als wenn er in einem Raum wäre, der Hall total gedämpft wird. Als wenn er lauter Decken hier im Raum hätte. Ich meine, ein paar sind ja da, aber so stark.
My mother's cigarette case. It's gone. How could somebody do this?
Mademoiselle, I ask that you take a moment to calm.
You're a detective, of course. What luck.
As luck would have it, one of Belgium's finest. Now, I require as many details of the crime as you can offer.
Nur Belgiums Finest, weil vielleicht ist ja die Auswahl gar nicht so groß.
I came to my cabin and began unpacking. I couldn't get the safe working, but the gentleman that helped me with my luggage showed me how it works. Afterwards, I went for a brief walk, and when I returned, the safe was open, and my cigarette case was gone.
Tja, also doch ein Fall für den Lockpicking-Lawyer.
We must consider the suspect list. Those who were aware of the cigarette case's existence.
That can only be those who were up on the deck when my luggage spilled. Miss Babanian, the porter, yourself.
Yeah, and the other guy.
And your helpful stranger.
Yes, of course.
I ask that you gather them for me. And while you are absent, I shall begin my investigation in here, if Mademoiselle permits.
Bisschen in ihrer Wäsche wühlen.
Whatever you need to do to find it.
New mind map unlocked. The theft of Mademoiselle Farquhar's cigarette case has plagued me for long enough. I must consider everything I know and deduce the true thief. Ich weiß ja noch gar nichts. Whenever Poirot uncovers an interesting area of investigation, a mind map is launched. Here you can see all the evidence related to your first investigation. Using your mouse, try highlighting each piece of evidence to see Poirot's interpretation of them. Florence Farquhar. Keys to room. Mademoiselle Farquhar, set of keys to her cabin, given to her when boarding the ship, no doubt. Was alone in her cabin. Mademoiselle Farquhar has not had any visitors to her cabin before her cry for help. That is. Hä? Was war jetzt? Ich komme hier nicht raus. Ach so, it's important to pay attention to all evidence information given. This will become vital as you start making deductions. For now, press the right mouse button to return to the scene. Ah ja, man kann es mit der Maus jetzt drehen. Sync. One must present themselves at their best at all times. The mirror is a little high for my stature, however. Ja, wir sehen hier auch nichts. Würde das nicht nur nach außen Sinn machen? Was haben wir hier auf dem Bett? Anscheinend nichts. Halt. Jetzt mit der Maus einfach drehen. Ja, das muss man dann vermutlich auch machen, weil man dann auf der anderen Seite nicht alles sieht. Dann schauen wir uns mal den Safe an. If the thief left any signs of accessing the safe, perhaps a fingerprint on the dial will be it. Ich glaube, drumherum drehen kann man sich nicht. There are no clear or obvious signs that the safe has been tampered with. The thief must have found another way in. The door remains open and the contents missing. This must have only become obvious once the safe was moved. Perhaps the cleaner should reassess their standards. Hier ist irgendwas.
Mademoiselle, I thought you would be returning with the gentleman also.
The gentleman wanted to speak to the porter alone first.
I was unaware he is also a detective.
He's not a policeman. He works in insurance, I believe.
It appears I shall be spending my time chasing amateur detectives around the ship. Mademoiselle, I would like to start with who had access to the safe combination.
No one. It was in a sealed envelope that was waiting for me when I arrived.
Ich würde ja mal ausprobieren, ob das 1815 hier nicht auch geht.
I memorized it and threw the paper overboard. 4, 3, 8, 5. It's really not that difficult to remember.
A similar envelope was waiting for me upon my arrival. The date of the Battle of Waterloo, as I recall. Every safe, although identical, must have a different combination.
Ach so, also doch.
After the gentleman helped me with the safe, he left.
Ja, aber die werden alle die Kombination wissen, weil wenn irgendeiner mal was vergessen sollte, müssen sie das ja noch öffnen und können nicht einfach den Safe dann wegschmeißen.
If the mysterious gentleman is behind the theft, he went to great lengths to hide his fingerprints, but did little to hide his movements in Mademoiselle Farquhar's cabin. There are many questions that require answers, answers I believe he may hold.
New mind map unlocked. Investigating a theft was one of the last things I expected for my journey to London. But as an officer of the law, it is my duty to find who could have stolen Mademoiselle Farquhar's cigarette case. And why. Notice the number of the chain icon has been updated. Try connecting two pieces of evidence to form a deduction. Pay attention to the information given to succeed. Use the mouse to highlight the notes and the left mouse button to start stop linking. Dial. If the thief left any signs of accessing the safe, perhaps a fingerprint on the dial will be it. There are no clear obvious signs that the safe has been tampered with. The thief must have found another way in. Also, wir sollen die jetzt verbinden.
Logical thinking shall always prevail.
Ja, ich bin mir nicht so sicher, ob das mit diesen... mit der Stimme, die da so gedämpft ist, ob das so schön ist. Given the state of the safe, I assume the thief simply entered the code and took the contents. Hier gibt's was Neues. Thief new code to this safe. Given the state of the safe, I assume the thief simply entered the code and took the contents. Okay, das ist also das gleiche wieder. So. Wir können mit denen reden. Wir schauen uns aber erstmal das an. Zappa. It seems that Mademoiselle Farquhar chose not to dine in the restaurant. Newspaper Artikel. Ja, wir lesen erstmal Zeitung. Das ist immer gut. An article from the London Illustrated News. Illustrated London News. Corpse found in Bay Area. Was, ein Hund? Ah, hier. Klar, wir lesen das jetzt hier, während die darauf wartet, dass wir den Fall lösen. The changing world in which we live in and who is permitted to enjoy it. Florence Farquhar. Ach, hat sie das geschrieben? Fine art, theater and literature as well as other mediums that are synonymous with the arts have always been considered a middle and upper class area of enjoyment and pastime, with those that fall outside of that desired audience being shunned at the door. Even now, having taken the steps into the 20th century, there are those that continue to exclude the inexperienced and uneducated, the working class, that have not had the privilege of seeing the true beauty of a Monet or read the powerful and relevant words of Charles Dickens in all their splendor. We now sit at the dawn of a new age, with London continuing to solidify its name as a pioneer, bringing art, music and literature to a modern audience that care more about the contents of the art form in front of them than the contents of their pockets. Ja, die sind irgendwie hier sozialkritisch hier eingestellt oder was? Ja, sowas. Dabei kommt sie ja auch aus einem besseren Haus. Lehnt sich also wohl irgendwie gegen die eigene Familie auf. Also mit Q kann man die Karte nicht drehen. Oder was heißt die Karte? Das Ganze hier. Luggage. I'm surprised Mademoiselle Farquhar's luggage made it this far without spilling with the amount she packed. Kann man es öffnen? Nein. Was haben wir hier? Florence Mascara. Item added. Makeup remains a mystery to me, but judging by Mademoiselle Farquhar's fashion sense, this must be a popular shade. Okay, können wir damit nach Fingerabdrücken schauen? Florence Powder Case. Item added. One must be careful with such delicate powder. A horrible mess it would cause. Also, it could come in useful. Das hört sich ganz seltsam an. Das ist irgendwie die Maschine, die jetzt immer langsamer läuft. Also man darf die rechte Maustaste nicht benutzen. Man kommt da immer in das Menü rein. Vielleicht kann man das auch abstellen. Das ist ein bisschen nervig, finde ich. Drehen wir das mal. Wie können wir das jetzt benutzen? So auf jeden Fall mal nicht. If the thief left any signs of accessing the safe, perhaps a fingerprint on the dial will be it. Use powder case. Some would say it is a rather rudimentary way of taking fingerprints. I say quite genius. No signs of any fingerprints on the dial. I may be dealing with a professional thief. So, was macht sie hier? Anastasia.
Mademoiselle Babagnan, I'm sorry we must continue our conversation under these circumstances.
On the contrary, what fantastic luck that you are here. Now I get to see you at work.
Ach ja, man kann sich jetzt hier aussuchen. Please walk me through your movements since our first meeting. Oder exit.
I'm afraid I've done very little actually. After we parted ways, I went to my cabin. I had barely unpacked and I was fast asleep on the bed.
Ich finde es immer wieder schade, dass das jetzt nicht vertont ist, das was Poirot gesagt hat.
Alone?
That is a rather personal question, don't you think, Detective?
Sie schaut ein bisschen steif und schaut mich nicht wirklich an.
I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. A poor attempt at a joke. Yes, I was alone.
There is no need to be nervous. And then?
And then I was woken up by Florence's scream. I have never heard something so terrifying.
Ja, da hat sie ja Glück gehabt, dass es noch nichts Schlimmeres gehört hat.
You have been most helpful, mademoiselle. I shall not take up any more of your time.
Ja, das hat uns jetzt nicht wirklich viel was gebracht. Wir sollten als nächstes mal mit Florence reden. Aber ich würde sagen, das machen wir nicht mehr heute. Machen wir dieser Stelle lieber erstmal ein kleines Päuschen. Und ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen und wir sehen uns das nächste Mal.